Greetings friends. Welcome to the Eternal Bright Light channel. Today we will learn about a very simple mathematical concept, and an unique feature of Vedic astrology. We are going to learn about the Ashtakvarga concept of Vedic astrology. This system can reveal the hidden potential and patterns of chart, and can further solidify the astrological predictions. The word Ashtakvarga itself is a combination of two words. Ashta meaning 8, and Varga here means division or distribution. So, this is a simple numerical system using the natural numbers. And anybody can learn this concept, even if you are not an astrologer. But before we go further, there are two things to keep in mind. First, this system is based on sidereal astrological chart. And second, it uses the Lahri Ayanam Sa. Also, it's better if you know about the meaning of houses and signs in astrology, and the types of astrological chart. So if you are new to this, then please watch them first. You can find short videos on them in the Karmic Blueprint playlist of our channel. Now, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Let's begin with the Ashtakvarga concept. This very word Bina means separate or distinct. We know, in a birth chart there are 12 signs and 12 houses. Also there are 9 planets. But here, we won't consider Rahu and Ketu. So we are considering only the 7 physical planets and the ascendant. So each of these 8 bodies will separately distribute a certain number of points, ranging between 0 to 8, to each of the 12 houses of the chart. So, if a planet gives 8 points to a house, then it is excellent. If it gives 0 point to a house, then it is difficult. 4 points is considered average. However, for Mars and Saturn, sometimes 3 may also be considered average. To know how much point is allotted to a house, you have to do some serious calculations. But you don't need to worry about that. Any good astrological software will do it for you. Now that we are clear with this idea about the point distribution, let's go one step further. So, now we already know that each of the 7 planets and the ascendant distributes points to the houses. But each of these 8 bodies has a maximum limit of points that they can distribute. This chart shows that limit. As you can see, Jupiter has the highest limit. So total 56 points can be distributed to the 12 houses. Next, Mercury has 54 points, Venus has 52 points, Moon has 49 points, Sun has 48 points, Mars and Saturn each has 39 points. While the ascendant has 49 points. Now you can see why 3 is also considered average for Mars and Saturn. Because the total points available to them is low. If you divide 39 by 12 you get roughly 3 points per house. Now let's understand this concept better, by taking an example. This is a chart of an individual with Virgo ascendant. For those of you who are new to Vedic astrology, this is a North Indian style chart. The numbers in black color represents the zodiac signs from Aries to Pisces. The first box with red color is the ascendant or first house, then yellow box is the second house, and like this it follows in an anti-clockwise order. You can also see the position of the planets. Moon sign is Libra being placed in second house, and Sun sign is Sagittarius being placed in the 4th house. But today we won't concern ourselves much with these placements, instead let's move on to the point distributions. This is the Ashtakvarga of Jupiter. Jupiter was placed in the 9th house in Aries sign of the individual. Look how it distributes its 56 points to the 12 houses. It has given 6 points to 1st, 7th, and 12th house, whereas 3 points to 3rd house which is below the average point of 4. This is the Ashtakvarga of Mercury. For this individual, Mercury is also the ascendant lord, being placed in the 4th house. It has given 7 points to the 3rd house, which is great. But only 2 points to the 10th house, which is apparently not so great. Similarly, let's take a quick glance at the point distribution of the other bodies as well. This is the Ashtakvarga of Venus. Look, it has given 6 points each to 3rd, 4th, and 5th house, which is great. But only 1 point to 7th house, that's apparently an area of concern. This is the Ashtakvarga of Moon. 7 points given to the 11th house, but only 2 points distributed to the 5th house. This is the Ashtakvarga of Sun. The Sun distributed 6 points each to 4th and 12th house, while 2 points only to the 10th house, which is the house of fame and career. This is the Ashtakvarga of Mars. 6 points given to the 6th house, which is great for Mars, as it has only 39 points to distribute, but only 2 points to 5th, 10th, 11th, and 12th house. So, here you learned one more thing. If a planet distributes too much point to one or two specific house, that means the other house will get significantly lesser points. Especially for Mars and Saturn, as they have only 39 points to distribute. This is the Ashtakvarga of Saturn. 6 points given to the 1st house, which is not so common for a planet like Saturn. But only 1 point given to the 9th house. Surely, a significant point to consider, while analyzing this individual's horoscope. Especially if you remember, Saturn is retrograde in the 8th house for this individual, and also debilitated in the sign Aries. Now that we are done with the 7 planets, let's look at the ascendant. This is the Ashtakvarga of the ascendant. It gives itself 5 points. 7 points to 11th house and 6 points to the 6th house. So a fairly good distribution, except the 12th house, which is given only 2 points. Now, let's move one step further. Until now we were looking at the individual distribution of the planets. But now, let's take a look at the bigger picture. Now, let's understand the concept of Sarvashtakvarga, also called Samudaya Ashtakvarga. The word Sarva means all. So, this is nothing but the total accumulation of the individual points given by all the 8 bodies, to a single house. We already know, that each planet distributes points ranging from 0 to 8 to each of the 12 houses. And there are 8 bodies. So theoretically it is possible for a house to have points ranging between 0 to 64. 0 when all the 8 bodies has given 0 points to a particular house, and 64 when 8 points are given by all the 8 bodies. Now let's take an example. This is the Sarvashtakvarga of the same individual we were discussing. In Sarvashtakvarga, 28 points is considered to be the average. Anything above 30 is great, whereas below 25 is not so good. For this individual, the 1st house has a total accumulation of 33 points from the 8 bodies. You can rewind the video, and add the points given to the 1st house individually by all the 8 bodies. The result will be 33 points. So one more thing we learned. Even if a house gets low points by a particular planet, the total points may not be low, if the other planet supports. If you remember, Venus only gave 3 points to the 1st house, which is below average, especially as Venus has 52 points to distribute. But ultimately the total score is 33, which is great score to have on the ascendant. Mars gave only 3 points to the 4th house, but look, the total score is 32, which is great. Also the reverse is possible. Jupiter gave 6 points to the 7th house, which is fantastic. But the total score of the 7th house is only 24, which is below the average point of 28. So one more thing we learned here. We have to look at both the individual score and the total score given to a house, in a balanced way, before coming to any conclusions. Friends, we have reached the end of this presentation today. But before we leave, there are some important things to remember. Whatever we discussed today was only on a foundational level. There are many more advanced things left to learn on the Ashtakvarga system, before starting to make any sort of predictions. Also, one thing you should know about Ashtakvarga, that it cannot be used independently to make any predictions. Ashtakvarga is like the final step which solidifies a prediction. If the birth chart does not promise a certain result, then even if you have good Ashtakvarga score, the result will not come. It is like the final approval given by the Almighty. For example, if the birth chart does not promise fame to an individual, then even if you have a good Ashtakvarga score on the 10th house, fame will not come. Also, you might have noticed that today we didn't make any prediction with the Ashtakvarga scores. As the idea behind today's presentation was to first create a strong foundation. We will end it here today. We will learn more advanced concepts on Ashtakvarga in the future. Until then, stay tuned, and subscribe to our channel. See you later, friends. Take care. Bye bye.